It's been a good couple of years since I last talked about a business that specialized in iPods and iPod parts. I feel like that since it's been a good 2 years since my last video on Elite Obsolete Electronics, it's a good time to talk about it, especially with me coming up to 22. Let's do it. Elite Obsolete Electronics specializes in iPods and iPod parts, including iPod Classics, iPod Touches, Shuffles, Minis, Nanos, also having them so you could get cases and batteries, flash modding kits and all that, even adapters for them. Now that's the main gist of it. Now, it's been a good couple of years since I last talked about the business and everything, and I think if anything, it's a good consideration to talk about, well, how is it? Also, do forgive me with my iPod Touch. I'm in the middle of going through a Dan TDM fast, which is also why this is here.
Hey guys, Dan here.
I want to first talk about the pricing of Elite Obsolete Electronics, since it's a good thing to talk about the pricing than just leave it alone. And, well, the prices have definitely gone up. Well, so much for adding a Dan TDM video to this iPod, because I was going to have it while it plays, but this iPod was originally $100 if it was like 3 years ago in 2023, which is how much I bought this one, even though this is modded and I bought the parts for it afterwards. Now it's almost $190 for this iPod. This iPod, which is a 5th gen iPod Touch, was originally $50 at the time, but now is $90. There's a similar price hike when it comes down to me buying my iPod mini. It went from $240 to almost $300. Yeah, I think the worst one was the 1st gen iPod going up to $600. Okay then.
How are we even getting in there, buddy? How have you done that?
In my opinion, the prices have gone up so high. And yes, I understand the value of iPods has gone up decently high from just, well, the idea of like having an iPod and an offline device, especially with schools banning smartphones. But the whole thing of iPods being so expensive is quite literally insane. Although there's another detail to that which also adds on to it, which Austin will explain in a minute. Now the customer experience can go from, I actually had a great experience, to, I don't really trust this business in the same way as I did. Either if it's people getting sent the wrong stuff not even working at all, or the customer support coming in afterwards and not even responding in a timely manner. For me, it's kind of a case where I've had a decent experience, like not a bad one at all, so I would say, well, this is just one opinion. But there's also a case where there have been some people where they've been sent stuff which isn't even the thing in the first place. Like recently, somebody ended up buying parts for a iPod 7th gen or something, but then got sent a iPod Shuffle instead. Now, happily, customer support kicked into overdrive at that point, but even then it's something where it should have been figured out. There's also another layer to this as well, which is I got into a call with Austin himself, or Elite Obsolete Electronics. Now, this call took about a good hour to actually do, so this is like a call which I have to say I'm gonna try to get the best segments of stuff which makes the most sense. Obviously the pricing is the big one for me. I just don't understand why the pricing is so expensive, but in some way I do get a bit of an insight on why, and just
What's up?
Like I started buying your iPods about 5 years ago in 2021, and the price of like the iPod video was like $60 at that time. Like last year I bought an iPod mini 2nd gen for like, what was it, like about over 100, like what was it, like 200 or something?
Yeah, it was a green 2nd gen 6 gig. Just across the board, the prices have like doubled or tripled for iPods. In terms of like my asking price and just the market value, like when you probably bought your first iPod, like my raw cost for, I think it was a iPod video 30 gig refurb. Back when you bought this, November 2021, my cost just on the iPod was like $15, right? And the battery's like 4 or 5. My cost for this iPod now, and this is wholesale, mind you, as cheap as you could possibly get it, it's gone up from about 15 to 55. Yeah, the wholesale broken cost of an iPod now is the same as a final product refurb. Let me turn my finger off here. There's a bunch of factors. I mean, it's mostly that iPod is actually in the middle of a resurgence or relevancy. Last summer, when the legislation went through to ban smartphones in schools, there was a huge run on iPods. and basically like screwed up the market completely. That's when everyone raised their prices, and that's when it became difficult to find them in the first place. But Apple sold like tens of millions of iPods in the US alone. So they're still out there. It's just those who have them 5 years ago considered them to be junk or really not worth their time, or just kind of sold them for whatever. But now I think there's more attention on the iPod being worth something that people care deeply about. And we're just kind of getting the free market.
Now, they gave a lot more info when it came down to working on getting all of the parts and then shipping it out afterwards. Well, one of the other guys, which ended up coming in, explained the whole process to me.
It was basically exclusively me handling day to day, but at this point I do maybe like 10, 15%. And then I offered to show you around, just like, you know, a tour, if you think that would be.
I think I'd like to start with the tour because I gotta figure out.
Oh, sure thing. Okay. Well, yeah, this is my desk here. We're kind of in the main room where I think you've seen this before. And then we've got a little iPod testing bench. There's Jameson, my assistant, working on finances, I think. And then here's John checking people's orders, the final QA check. So orders that need to be checked, he's doing the QA, and then they get put on this cart, and then they get taken to the shipping room. Here's the main area where this is where basically all of the parts and iPods are. And so we've got one station here, one station there, so we can have two people putting together orders at once. And then when they're done putting stuff together, you know, it gets brought over here.
Like, is there like a dedicated person to like ship out the order?
There is. Yep, I can actually show you the shipping room now. So I personally believe that issue has been resolved. So it's a little kitchen area. This is the shipping room. We have a dedicated guy for shipping, just shipping.
I would also ask him about the whole thing with them shadowing Reddit posts, since there's been many instances where as an iPod moderator, where it's either been a case where people's Reddit posts on Elite Obsolete Electronics have completely been shadowed out of the realm, or even then just completely deleted in the first place.
What else you got for me?
I know that the one that was gonna, like, this was one that was a massive issue, which is also kind of like why the reputation of you was kind of lingering, was the shadow Redditing, the like shadow modding on Reddit posts.
Sure.
Like when people talk about the business and then like people see like there's a post gone of like talking about your business.
A lot of the ones that you're talking about stem from problems that I caused myself, from overworking myself, putting too much on my plate, waiting too long to hire additional help. And we're at 10, 11 people, including myself, on this team. So like emails, there's at least 2 people, sometimes 3 when I'm in the mood to go through emails. In terms of people who can do returns, we got 3 or 4 people. When back then it was just me, and I kind of had to make a decision on what to sacrifice my time on. But I did an interview with Spotted Tango specifically about those situations that you're talking about. Highly recommend watching it because I don't quite remember. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, this threads that you're talking about now. So I recommend watching that. I can send you a link to it, but I can give you like a quick rundown. So the subreddits, I was given the moderator status by the owner back in 2020, I think, who has since left the community. And then it was 2 of us as active mods. It was myself and an individual that went by Brado, who owns the Discord server. He backed out of moderating the subreddit about a week and a half ago. Oh, that's my phone. So it was left up to me. So I've been trying to get people to help. And I'm still working on that. But we do have another mod here, goes by really active in the iPod Discord. I'm not sure if you recall, because the way it's been in the past is like I'm iPod centric, right? And same with the other mods. And I'm trying to find someone who is basically knows nothing about iPods, but knows how to moderate a relatively large community and sort of just do the job that needs to be done. Because we've had iPod enthusiasts doing a job that they're really not qualified for, myself included. So as soon as I could find someone who's qualified to like really take over, I'm basically just gonna take a step back. And as far as I understand it, I'm the owner of the subreddits now, and I personally don't plan on changing that, but I do plan on basically not moderating anything and leaving it up to the other team.
They also gave hand on the customer support side on why the customer support was bad at least at the time.
All right, let me touch on emails again. So people had made complaints about emails between taking forever to respond, not responding, receiving emails that came off as rude. That was on me. And I was able to identify that, I like to do what I do best. And emails is not what I do best. And so I've been taken off emails completely. And because of that, the customer service reputation has gotten better. I hate doing emails, honestly. And so I approached them with sort of a bad attitude, and it just brought everyone down. So I like to put people on the job that enjoy what they're doing.
Now, happily, this call gave me a bit more insight in some of the active works of like Elite Obsolete Electronics in itself, with like some of the things like how the businesses run, how busy they get, the shipping process of how easy and quick they get everything out, and how active they're trying to keep the entire operation going. And well, it does show in a way. Now, I would say that the business, for the type of stuff it does, it's actually a really nice business to actually have a hold of, since you know that like you can go directly to the business and just buy the parts that you need. And even if you like have problems, you can just go to customer support and tell them the issues that you have, or better yet, ask them questions if you're doing a project yourself, not even at Elite Obsolete Electronics parts. And that's the good thing about Elite Obsolete Electronics, is at least in some way you can rely on them to at least be able to go out of your way with like the entire business and everything. Like you can go into the actual email right here to go and see if you have any issues or anything. But that does lead to another thing, which is kind of concerning.
In terms of like the percentage margin profit that I made off the sale in 2021 versus now, it's roughly the same. But I mean, there's a bunch of factors. So the demand has gone up since then. The supply for replacement screens on the iPod Video and iPod Classic has almost completely dried up. And that's been a huge factor in why they're so expensive now. Like my cost on those displays used to be like $10, and now it's up to like $40-50. I mean, what happened was we were getting them consistently until the Chinese New Year earlier this year, 2026. And then after the holiday ended and the factories and the vendors were supposed to go back to work, they just never offered the LCDs for sale again. So I'm taking them at their word that the supplies are running out, but they could just be trying to find the market price for them. That's been a huge pain point, because like if we run out of screens, then like everything stops. So like basically right now, like my cost for the $55 wholesale broken iPod, I'd say like 1 in 3, maybe 1 in 4 have a good display. But the rest of them, it's going to be that 55 and then basically another 40 or 50 just for a replacement display.
This is a bit of a concern mainly for not even just Elite Obsolete Electronics, but the general iPod community, for the fact that the case of iPod parts running out, not just in a sense of like slowly running out, but is actually starting to actively run out, for the fact that even devices like these are slowly becoming extinct. Like even with like used iPods, we're trying to get the parts, can be semi-unreliable and even expensive to just buy the iPods themselves for wholesale. And that's one of the big things, which was like why it was like so shocking to hear that iPod parts are really starting to thin out now. Just the whole thing of like the wholesale of iPod prices has just gone up so high. The business in itself doesn't have very long to last. I'm not gonna say it doesn't have like a couple of years left. In the same sense, that's concerning to know that the actual thing of the parts or all of that is starting to run out, and it's starting to kind of thin out quite a bit, to the point to where you have to rely on other iPods to just get the parts in question. And even then, that's not even going to be fully reliable.
Because like if we run out of screens, then like everything stops.
Now, my conclusion with Elite Obsolete Electronics is that, well, obviously with the entire thing of iPod parts running out, it's actually understandable why iPods are getting more expensive on Elite Obsolete Electronics. But in also another way, you have to also consider that just the idea of buying an iPod from eBay and then buying the parts from Elite Obsolete Electronics, like a flash kit or something, it's more understandable why people would do that in the first place, instead of buying iPods directly from Elite Obsolete Electronics. Even if it's a case where you decide not to buy an iPod, it's still better to just go out of your way to get the parts from them, because you can at least know that they're a dedicated place and you can just email them for if you have any issues. Now, do I recommend buying from the business? Well, for the prices of the iPods, there's a lot of me that says, I don't want to say no, but in the same sense, a lot of me, it's like, it really depends on the product. Like, there's some iPods where I feel like it's worth it, but then some that are just like, don't buy it. I would say that yes, it's a good business, but it's just to me, it's too expensive to buy from on a regular basis now. Because I used to buy semi-regular, like every couple weeks, couple months, but now it feels like that, like it would have to be each year, maybe once, maybe twice a year to buy from the place instead of every couple months. I at least know that I can trust the business, but in the same way, I don't want to buy from a place that costs so much money. Like, to me, that just, I would rather put my money into something else, but the parts is more reasonable. So I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this little update video on Elite Obsolete Electronics. I hope you guys enjoyed. This video was a bit of a mixed video since I didn't know how to do this video in the same way as I did, especially with the whole call with Elite Obsolete Electronics. Hasta la pasta.